probably regret this, but get going. You better not be lying.
Well, don't worry. I might be a thief, but I ain't no liar. Here it is.
Off you go, then. Suppose I really do need to find some job. I'll find mutt without you, you stuck-up Lord of Perkstein. What do you want from me?
I don't want anything from you. I should actually be thanking you.
Uh-huh. For what?
I've been begging for alms here for days, but I didn't make any real coin till today. And that's thanks to you. The scene you made brought out nearly all of Troskowitz.
You're welcome. At least it was good for something.
Oh well. Not many people can make such a strong first impression. But look on the bright side.
Hmm?
Now things can only get better.
Yes, you're probably right. It doesn't get much worse than that. Unless somebody tries to kill me. Again.
You're still alive in one piece. It's a new day and the sun is shining. Like Tomcat always says, bruises build character.
Hey, you. What's your name, anyway? What do you do?
I'm Bara. Just Bara.
Looks like you know your way around here pretty good. You're from here, right?
I ain't. I'm just passing through.
Why exactly are you helping me?
Why? Why?
Because you look like you need it.
I've been in the ship plenty of times, and I know how appreciated a helping hand is in times like that.
Where are you headed? If you're only passing through here.
For work, to the city. I'm tired of serving landholders. They all promise the moon, but then you're eating stale bread, cold porridge, and a nary a groschen in sight. With the city folk, it's bound to be better.
You said you were going to a city. You mean like to Prague? Or somewhere further?
I'd like to go to Prague, but I don't know anybody there. In Kuttenberg, at least I have a cousin.
Aha. So you're going to visit her?
Well, she doesn't know it yet. But I won't be troubling her long, just until I find a way to make a living.
What do you want to do in the city?
I'll find something. I'm not afraid of work. I'm not half-witted. Maybe someone could use a cook or a servant.
Don't get your hopes up. The city can be a pretty dangerous place for a girl on her own.
You mean they don't hand out groschen by the bucketful? And the streets aren't full of roasted stuffed geese? I appreciate your concern, but I have to get to the city first. That's going to take me a long while yet.
You're something like a wanderer?
Nah, I usually find work with someone, stay for a while, and once I save a bit, I move on.
Then why are you begging here?
Sometimes I collect herbs for the apothecary or help in the tavern, but I'd like to go somewhere else, so I'm scraping up whatever I can. But on the whole, you could say I'm a traveller or a nomad, but don't say it too loud. The locals don't take kindly to them.
Why?
Because they're different, and it scares people. They travel from place to place and take their home with them.
I'd like to see what their homes look like.
You can go and see them, just don't stare too long.
My main concern is getting to that wedding in Seming. Do you know anything about that celebration?
Well, yeah. People are talking of nothing else. The Lord's son is getting married to the sister of that lout he was fighting with.
How much time do you think I have? Have the preparations already begun?
From what I hear, the bride's dress still ain't finished, and blacksmith Radovan still ain't started smithing the gift for the groom. So, no rush.
Hopefully by then I'll find a way to sneak in. I'm practically naked. Nobody's going to want to even talk to me like this.
At least you're not walking around bare-arsed. Although, that might not be a sorry sight.
Ah, very funny. I'd rather you tell me where I might get some clothes.
And what do you have in mind? Brocade and satin, a monk's robe, or perhaps Sir Brunswick's armour?
I'd like to look distinguished. Like the proper right hand of a highborn lord.
After what you did here, I'd say your days as a right hand are over.
Still, I don't want to look like some yokel.
Without money, you can't deck yourself out in much finery. You'd certainly find something fancy in Bartoszek's workshop. And if anybody asks, You didn't hear it from me.
Thanks. These will come in handy.
Just don't get yourself caught again.
I really need something to wear.
I can see that. Save up for something or use those lockpicks. Either way, I can't help you anymore.
I have no money. I might as well beg on the village green like you.
The hell you will. This is my turf. Here you go. I'll skip supper. It's partly your doing anyway.
Wow. I mean, thank you. Seriously.
Yeah, don't start crying. You'd better find some work quick.
Damn. I could use a horse. It'll take years to get to Semin on foot.
Don't exaggerate. This province is small.
Still, it'll be faster with a horse.
There's a stud farm in Semin, renowned far and wide.
And which way is Semin?
Southwest from here, not too far. There's a road goes right there from the green. Just go down the hill. Once you see the walled farmhouse, you're there. Though, I'll be a queen before you can afford a horse from Semin.
Do you know where I might find accommodation?
Betty in the tavern lets people sleep in the hay. But you have to pay.
I'm not going near that tavern. I'd catch hell again. Got any other ideas?
If you find some work, maybe you'll get a place to sleep too.
Do you know anything more about Tomcat?
They say he's a master swordsman, but a real joker too. He loves showing off to girls.
Do you think Tomcat might teach me a few of his tricks?
No offence, but compared to him, you're a bit of a lightweight.
I don't want to pull wagons, but if he can handle a weapon, I'd be happy to train a little with him.
Well, one of the guards tried to take him on and came back whipped like a dog, moaning like he'd been broken in two.
Well, sure. If he's that strong, I'm not surprised.
More like some trick he's got that our watch doesn't know. Or at least that's what the poor man said.
Where might I run into Tomcat?
In the camp by the tower. That is, by Rock Tower Pond. He watches the camp for the nomads.
Should I watch out for them?
No, I don't think so. They mind their own business, but strangers usually mean trouble for them, so they're careful. Try not to stare too hard and hold your tongue, otherwise Tomcat will show you some of his other skills.
Oh well. It was nice to meet you, but I should probably get going. Get a job, and so on.
Don't worry, you'll manage. Till we meet again.
Welcome. You can buy everything you need from me, but excuse the selection. A few days ago, when I was returning with new goods, the horse got spooked and my wagon tipped into the pond. I salvaged some things, but the rest is now in the pond.
And where did the wagon tip?
On the roads near the Katchak Pond, beyond Jelioff. You can still find it there. I can't tell you how much it still pisses me off, but what can I do?
Were there any valuables in there?
You bet. Lord Semin ordered all sorts of delicacies and precious spices from me for the wedding feast. And for Taylor Bartishak, I was carrying expensive fabrics to make dresses for the occasion. If you only knew how much coin I spent on this.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Me too, but what can I do? So, what will it be?
I wanted to ask you, what's on the other side of that nearest hill? I'm not from here, and I'd like to get my bearings. You look like a merchant to me, so you probably know best.
Ja, natürlich, you're not from here. Everyone around here knows that, after what happened in Betty's Tavern. Aber das ist deine Sache. That is your business, lad. Also, what do you want to know?
Where's the church? Yeah.
Where can I find a church round here? I'm surprised you don't even have a small chapel in the village.
If you want. Die Rettung deiner Seele, junger Mann. You have to go through the forest to Aujetz and to St. Catherine. Herr von Berger does have a chapel in his castle, but it's not for commoners like you. We do not go there either. Und warum auch? The gravedigger Ignatius takes care of burials outside the village, and weddings usually take place without a local priest. No one wants to pay the church more than they have to. Das ist ja wohl klar.
Can I find other merchants around here?
Zum Glück nicht, junger Mann. I'm the only merchant here around, Trotsky. Oh, natürlich. There are plenty of tradesmen here who sell their goods. There is Bartosz, the tailor. He lives at the other end of the village. The apothecary, Emmerich, lives across from me. They are a hand in glove, or more like hat in hat.
What do you mean by that?
Nichts weiter. just that they play at being educated men. Along with the scribe Geibel, they are always studying some Latin tracts. But of the three, perhaps only Geibel knows Latin, if he really does at all.
Is there anyone else here?
Oh yeah. Beyond the tailor's house on the edge of the village is where Bashka the butcher lives. Opposite the Rathaus is the carpenter. The rest of the villagers are just peasants, and you are already familiar with the tavern.
Is there anything I should avoid around here?
Certainly. Stirring up trouble and sticking your nose into other people's business. Here in the village, we don't care much for outsiders. If any do come, they better behave.
I understand that, but we were ambushed by bandits. So I wanted to ask if you know anything about that.
Ach so, ich verstehe. The woods have been full of all manner of rebel recently. That is all because of the war. Verdammte Schurken.
So you've already heard about these bandits?
About those ones in particular, or about others. They are all just gleichen Scheißkerle. Every time I go to the town, the bailiff must send an armed escort with me. It makes life difficult.
So the roads aren't safe?
Ja, das kann man wohl sagen. Herr von Bergo should do something about it at last. But Herr Otto spends more time in Prague than here, and Chamberlain Ulrich... Ach, lassen wir das.
Where do you go for wares? What's the closest town?
The closest is Sobotka, the biggest Gichin, what you call Gichin. And farther north there is Turnov. Half of that one belongs to Herr von Bergo.
Is it far?
Das kommt darauf an. It takes all day on foot. Wenn du was brauchst, the goods I have here will have to do you. I do not think you will get to the town anytime soon.
What do you want, you yokel? Speak up or get lost.
I heard you could use a helping hand at the forge.
I could. My last two hands, well, they're not worth mentioning. And what with the wedding coming up, the work is piling up. What do they call you?
Henry.
I'm Radovan. You should know, Henry. The blacksmithing isn't for everyone. Have you done it before?
Yeah. I basically grew up in the forge. My father was a swordsmith, and not just any. He even forged swords for the nobility.
For the nobility, eh? Well, that kind of experience will come in very handy for me indeed. As it happens, I have to forge a wedding present for young Lord Semine. A fine sword.
So you'll take me on?
Hold your horses. I'll have to try you out first. You could forge me a hunting sword as a test, so I can see if you can make a straight blade. That shouldn't give you much trouble if your father was a swordsmith, should it?
Sure thing. I can get started right away.
Great. Find some iron and get started then.
Iron?
You can't make a sword out of butter, but if you don't have your own stuff, you can get everything from the chest in my forge. Right. Let's have a look. Very nice work. Your father taught you the trade well.
He'd certainly be happy to hear that.
If you carry on hammering as well as you did today, you've definitely got a job here. Even so, keep in mind, it's all about making sure every strike does its job. That's why you can't let it get cold, or keep striking the same spot. If you work evenly, each strike falling right next to the last one, you can't go wrong. Got that? Or is there something else you want to ask about?
Good does it do me to whistle while I work?
It makes you work to a rhythm. You won't get tired so quickly, and the iron feels it.
How do I know a good strike from a bad one?
By the sparks that fly up. And by the ring. It rings out with a different sound when you do it right.
What's the right way to heat up the workpiece?
Do it till it turns the color of straw. Ideally, the color should be the same everywhere, if your forging's going to be even. The main thing is, don't work it cold. You just ruin it. But don't overheat it either. As soon as sparks start to fly off it in the furnace, take it out.
Why should I forge evenly?
If you keep hammering the same spot, you'll never finish it. You'll just fuck it up. But jumping from one end to the other ain't a good idea neither. You'd end up working unevenly. The best thing to do is aim each strike next to the one before.
How will I know it's finished?
Notice the shape. The closer you are to finishing, the more precise the shape it will have.
Thanks. That's all I need to know.
You can sleep in the chamber by the woodshed. And there's a chest where you can keep your things. And of course, you can use the forge anytime you want. Any questions?
All
Where
these.
can I get materials?
You can buy some essentials from me. But if you want to make a fancy sword with lots of ornamentation, you'll have to look elsewhere. This is just a village, you know. The locals ain't after luxury. And they can't afford it neither.
What can I do with the items I've forged?
Well, you can sell them. Though you probably won't have much luck around here. But I'll happily buy some of the nicer things from you.
Where exactly is my bed?
At the side of the house, there are 2 doors and a wheelbarrow between them. You go in by the rear door, next to the woodshed, and you can put your things in the chest there. Don't worry, nobody'll steal them.
What now?
What do you think? You're not going to be idle. I'll find you some work to do right away. You're pretty good at swords, but what the locals really need is axes and horseshoes. Right, here are some simple drawings that show what they're both supposed to look like. And some iron. You can get down to it right away.
Just like that? You aren't going to help me?
Sacre, lad. I chose you because you already know a thing or two. I'm not going to look over your shoulder all bloody day. You take care of these smaller jobs. Forge away as long as you're able, and then sell it all. Once you've made some coin and feel like being out in the open again, I'll give you some more interesting work. What are you here for, friend? It's about those 2 idiot hands of mine, Venser and Franzi. They drove off with a cart full of goods towards Semine, and they never came back.
Do you want me to find them?
Just so. But more importantly, I want to know where my cart ended up, and especially the cargo. Go to Semine and find out what the bloody hell happened.
Have you any idea which way they might have gone? I could have a look along the way. Maybe their cart broke down or something.
There's only one road to Semine that can take a cart. It leads from Takov to Troskovitz, and then to the south. But I've got a bad feeling they got up to no good in Semine.
Those 2 hands of yours, Venser and Franzi, what can you tell me about them?
Can't tell you much. They're wandering laborers. I don't think they wanted to stay here with me for long, but these days I can use all the help I can get.
Were they suspicious in any way?
No, they worked hard. They ain't no slackers. And I can't say that about everyone.
What was the cart carrying?
Bugger and bollocks. All sorts of stuff. I'd say Lord Semine wants to rearm his garrison with new equipment. There were some hunting swords, bastard swords, crossbow bolts. I also fixed the trigger on young Semine's crossbow. And some kitchen stuff. Sacks of charcoal, all sorts of things. There's a good month's work in that cartload.
All right. I'll get right on it then.
Go ahead. And if you find that pair of fools drunk, kick their asses for me.
Gladly. I'll kick some sobriety into them. I'm looking for the Takov blacksmith's cart. Have you seen it?
Loads of carts come past here. There's going to be a wedding and they need supplies. Try asking Captain Gnarly. He keeps an eye on supplies. He'll probably be in the courtyard.
Thanks.
And watch yourself when you go into the courtyard.
Why?
We've got some wedding guests from Moravia. They're in pretty high spirits. It's still a while to the wedding, but them gents is already getting into the swing of things.
Says to him, "No, father, I haven't been fornicating. I've just been loving my neighbour."
Hey! You alright there, laddie?
Oh, you should have seen him. He went as red as a cardinal's hat. Aye. Hey, servant, bring some wine.
Me? I'm not a servant.
Oh, I know. Old Semine is saving supplies for the wedding later. But you didn't need to bother your wee head about that.
Look, I'm not from here.
Oh. I didn't give a fuck what you frae. You speak our language, do you not?
Well, Yarko, seems to me this fella doesn't know how to behave toward his betters.
The old man's hired hands are lacking in Manners. We'll soon fix that. Come on.
Oh, you wee blasted! In the devil's name is fucking going on here?
What do you think's going on, Grandad? I'm teaching your people here how we do things.
Grandad?
Why, Grandad? An old captain like you probably still remember the flood.
True enough, Yurko. I am old. And I remember all sorts of things. Like you. When you were a little nipper running around here bare arse, with a ribbon in your hair, screaming out how you was Princess Sophie. Poor lad, hadn't a moment's peace from his big sisters.
What about that wine?
Who in God's name are you?
Henry. The Takoff blacksmith sent me. Radovan.
Blacksmith, eh? Then you'll have some explaining to do. Come along and never mind that fool Yurko. Young Samin's getting married, so we has to put up with his kin from Moravia.
We'll be needing a dozen geese. And I must tell Vashek to get 3 pigs ready for slaughter. And the carters will have to be sent to Yetchin to get at least a peck of poppy seed for cakes. And gingerbread spices. Oh, and wine, too. It's almost all gone, what we bought only last week.
Enter!
Sorry to intrude, sir. This is Henry, blacksmith Radovan's hand.
Oh, excellent. Dorothy, leave us now. Just make sure that there's plenty of everything so long as it doesn't cost too much.
But, sir...
Not another word! Leave us! So Radovan sent you alone. Who's going to unload it all? It's a whole cartload.
Yeah, Radovan sent me, sir, but not with the goods. The thing is, he's missing his cart, along with the carter in his hands.
What? But they never came here. Are you telling me they got lost?
Well, I couldn't tell you what happened to them, sir, but it's my job to find them.
There are all sorts of vermin roaming the countryside.
Oh, no need to imagine the worst right off, Gnarly. Anyway, I need the load from that cart, so saddle up your old nag and we'll ride out, Captain. I could do with a breath of fresh air. I've had it up to the eyeballs with counting geese and pies.
What about Henry here, sir?
Well, what about him?
We could use an extra pair of hands. You know how my shoulder's acting up. Yurko is shit-faced, and your son...
The older has work to do. All right, take Henry with you if you want. Just so long as he doesn't slow us down.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I'll be glad to help you.
Oh, you reckon we can't manage on our own?
No. That's not how I meant it.
Take it easy, son. I'm only yanking your pizzle. By the way, the fellas at the gate say you came here on foot.
Yeah, I did.
Christ above. And how are you going to ride with us? On the back of my saddle? You're a bit big for that, ain't ya? And I'm a bit too old.
You've got a stud farm here, don't you? Couldn't I borrow one of your horses?
Aye. And then we'd never see hide nor hair of you, nor the animal again. We don't lend horses. But you're in luck. Our groom brought in a grey nag not long ago. Tell him you've got to ride out with us, and he'll give it to you for a decent price.
All right. Thanks.
Well, that should be that. Unless you've got any more questions.
I'd like to go and see that wedding.
Wouldn't we all, lad? And what would you do there?
I'd eat and drink my fill and check out the local maidens.
I hope Lord Samin didn't hear you.
He'd be none too pleased to hear you want to take part in such a grand affair, just to stuff your face and roll an A with some drunken wench.
I beg your pardon, Captain, but that's what most fellas go to weddings for.
That's an unspoken truth, son. Unspoken, mind. Anyways, you're Radovan's hand, ain't ya? He'll be coming to the wedding. He's making a wedding gift for the groom. Stick with him, and maybe he'll take you with him.
I'd like to go and see that wedding.
Let's see what happens.
Wouldn't we all, lad? And what would you do there?
I'd eat and drink my fill and chat.
Okay, same. Let me go ahead and skip back.
Anyways, stick with...
This Yurko and his mates, who are they?
They're Lord Samin's kin. They're fine as long as they don't get too much booze inside them.
Only they're from Moravia, so they're never far from the booze.
But what can I tell you, lad? Each to himself. Besides, they stick with the family when push comes to shove. And you can't say that about everyone.
And you, sir? What is it you do?
Well, son, I wonder if I haven't made a mistake about you. If you haven't figured me out by now, you can't be very bright.
No, I just meant, what exactly is it you do for Lord Semin? And your name isn't exactly very common.
I'm the captain here, and I'm sure I don't have to tell you what a captain does. As for my name, it's a nickname Lord Samin's grandpa gave me. May he rest in peace. When I joined his service as a young fella, I took my gnarly club with me. Wouldn't use anything else. I was used to it. And more than once helped me to, well, win an argument. I broke many a hard skull with it. And it's still in one piece. We've been together so long, we even share the same name.
You're lucky you didn't turn out to be Captain Knob.
Or Captain Headcracker. You're right.
We should probably get going.
That we should. But it's getting pretty late. We need daylight for a search like that. Come back in the morning and we'll set out. If you want, stay here. You'll get a bit of grub in the kitchen and you can sleep in the barn.
What can I do for you?
That grey horse you have grazing here is mine.
What do you mean, yours? I bought it fair and square. I admit, it was only for a few groschen from some suspicious lad who found it down by the Rock Tower Pond, but that horse is not branded, so it belongs to me now.
Who sold her to you?
I told you already. Some young lad. He wasn't from here.
What did he look like? Where'd he go?
You're a bit hasty, eh? He had black hair and a big beard. And he looked like he'd been sleeping in the woods. And his breath smelled like hell. But I couldn't tell you where he was headed.
She's my horse. I rode in on her from Ratai, in the retinue that was attacked down by the pond.
Right. You happen to need a new horse, and this one just happens to be the one you already own. Does it have your brand? It does not. So you are out of luck.
Look, it's just one horse. It's not that important, is it?
What do you mean, not important? I sell horses. It's how I make a living.
Ah, well, a horse here or there. What difference does it really make, eh?
It makes a difference to me, and to Lord Samin as well.
Ah, well. Never mind then. Look at me.
I am looking.
Take a good look.
Aye, I am.
And what you see? Hmm?
A simpleton?
Fine. I'll buy her from you then.
That's more like it.
I'm sure you can take good care of Pebbles, but I just can't accept that price.
It seemed to me like you might have some history with Pebbles, but I suppose I was wrong. At least it certainly doesn't look that way. What with the pittance you're offering me?
Don't get ideas. I wasn't at my best. But I'm not going to scrap with you again.
You're related to the Semines, if I understood right.
Aye. I wouldn't be here otherwise. My great-grandmother married young Lord Samin's great-uncle. It's not every day that your, first cousin, once removed, gets married.
You've got quite an unusual accent. Where are you from?
Can't you tell? From Znojmo in Moravia. Lovely country. All vineyards and bonny lasses.
Well, you don't like it here?
You see any vineyards and bonny lasses here? The locks are broad, all right. They didn't exactly lift your spirits, but more the other way around.
You're a long way from Moravia. You must hold Lord Semin in high esteem.
My pa holds all his kin in high esteem, so he sends us all over the place. But we didn't have all far to go. We were at a wedding in Rottenburg last week. A wee bit from Yiglaver. Before that, it was a bairn's christening at Koshenberg, and another wedding in Darchin. Then a friendly visit to our kin, the Shellbergs in Coolberg. That's all I mind. I haven't been home for 6 months, and I dinna care.
Can I ask you something, Captain?
Sure. Ask away, son.
What about Lord Semine? What's he like?
What are you asking me, son? We don't know each other well enough for me to criticize my master.
Oh, I'm not asking you to criticize him.
And would you believe me if I told you he's kind and just? That he knows how to make some coin, but he ain't no miser. He knows how to give orders, but he'll listen to advice too.
Sounds almost too good to be true.
See? You wouldn't believe me.
How about von Bergov? What's he like?
Well, actually, I don't know that much about Sir Otto. He spends a lot of time in Prague and travelling all over the kingdom. He ain't in Trotsky that often. Once a year before Christmas, he invites his yeomen there, including Lord Semine. That's decent.
That's all you know?
That's it.
I'll get going then. I'm ready to set out, sir.
All right. Stay close to us and don't go wandering off.
As you say, sir.
All right, son. You're going to fight Lord Semine. It'll be an honourable fight, so you better act accordingly. Hold on, Mo. I'll give you some gear for it.
What weapon will you give me?
What would you like?
Sword?
Don't get ahead of yourself, laddie. A sword belongs in noble hands. You can have my cudgel. It might be just a stick, but it's my stick, so careful with it.
Thank you, Captain.
Save the thanks, and get your arse into the pen. What do you say, son?
You really gave me the runaround.
I'm no spring chicken, but I'm as spry as ever.
God's truth, sir. You didn't disgrace yourself, but I can see the young un has spirit. Anyways, you can keep that old junk, Henry. Even my cudgel. But take care of the old fella. He might be just a piece of wood, but he's saved my arse more than once.
I will, Captain.
And since you won, I've got something else for you as well. My shield.
Isn't that a bit too much, Gnarly?
Sir, my left shoulder's fucked anyway. I can't carry no shield.
True enough.
Thank you.
So, we're in Troskowitz. What now, sir? Should I go to the bailiff and ask if he might have seen someone?
Well, that makes sense. But the young fella here should do it. If the bailiff sees you, he'll guess I'm in the village and come and bother me. And I'm really not in the mood today for any bombardment of complaints.
I understand, sir. All right, Henry. Run along to the rat house and inquire about that wagon.
And Henry, not a word about me. Are we clear?
About who? Since you're not here, how could I speak of you?
That's what I like to hear. Now run along.
Master Bailiff, can I ask you about something?
Ask away, by all means. Wait now, aren't you that lad who's helping Radovan in the forge?
Yeah, that's me.
I heard his hired hands went missing.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm here.
Ah, I was thinking they were driving awful fast with that cart.
You saw them?
I did, a few days back. They raced through the village in the early evening so fast, they were dropping sacks of charcoal.
Where were they headed?
Towards the east, to Apollonia on the road to Yichin. And you're looking for them?
I am indeed.
I'm glad to hear it. I heard there were goods for Semine on that cart, and I can do without that kind of trouble now, on account of the wedding, you know?
Wedding? It seems you have a lot of concerns with that wedding, Master Bailiff.
Of course I do. I'm the father of the bride, after all. Although not everyone sees eye to eye with me. Lord Semine would be happier if I paid all the bills and left all the decisions up to him. Who's invited, what there'll be to eat and drink, entertainment, everything. It's not like I have a burning desire to deal with it, but if I'm going to pay for it...
I understand. But isn't it just that the groom's family is more concerned about these things?
That's not it. I'll tell you what it is. It's because Lord Semine is a noble and I'm just a commoner. Only I've got coin. While he's trying to keep the wolf from the door in that piddling estate of his.
You ought to calm down, Master Bailiff. That kind of talk can stir things up.
You're right, of course. It just makes me mad, though.
I understand. Do you know anything about Radovan's hired hands?
Only what I've told you. But to tell you the truth, I wouldn't mind if they never turned up again.
Why's that?
Well, they might look like butter wouldn't melt in their mouths, and Radovan praises them, but I know people. That pair have mischief in their eyes. I can tell.
That'll be all. Thanks.
Well then, young man, how did it go?
They were spotted here, sir. Going to the east, towards Apollonia.
So to Yitchin? The bastards! And what about my goods?
Oh, they were driving so fast, it was falling off the cart.
The thieving scum. Let's hurry. To Yitchin!
Sir, I could send a message to the Yitchin captain of the guard.
Oh, it'll take too long. We'll go and get them ourselves.
So, St. Anthony, which way now?
While you're praying to the patron saint of lost things, go and have a look along the road, Gnarly. And you, Henry, have a look to the left.
All right, sir. But don't forget, my eyesight ain't what it used to be.
Well, that's what we have the youngster for, isn't it? Off you go.
Did you see a cart drive through here by any chance?
All the time, friend, from Troskovich to Yitchin and back. Sometimes even a slow cart with a dead body.
I'm looking for a cart loaded with goods from the blacksmith. Probably moving fast.
Now that you mention it, I do recall something of the like. They even dropped a sack of charcoal. When you go out of the cemetery onto the road, you should see it right there on the right-hand side.
You found anything, lad?
There's a sack of charcoal lying in the ditch, to the left of the road. The bailiff said they were driving like the devil, so maybe it fell from the cart.
Oh, that makes sense. To the left it is, then. Gnarly! Back here! Oh, hold up. This is strange. I don't see any cart tracks. What do you reckon, Gnarly?
I'm blind as a mole, sir. But it's all peculiar, right enough. Where the hell could that cart have vanished to?
Well, that's just it. They had nowhere to turn off.
I'll look up the road a bit. And you, Henry, have a look back along the road. Maybe it fell in a ditch somewhere. Who knows?
Very well, sir.
What do we do now? I heard more than two voices.
I used to clamber around here as a young lad. The girls from Slatigo used to come make a fire here and jump over it. And so's their underwear wouldn't catch fire. Sometimes they'd take it off.
That's nice, Gnarly, but I don't think it's scantily clad maidens we'll be running into here. So what's that got to do with anything?
Well, there's a nice view into the gorge from up there. We only have to go back a bit, and we can get up there nicely.
Right. Henry, what are you waiting for? This is just the kind of thing we took you along for.
Sure, sir. With a bit of luck, there might be some girls there, too.
I could do without girls with voices like that. Now get going.
So how's it look, Sonny? How many?
I saw 3. And they don't look like Radovan's hands.
And what about my goods?
I didn't see them. It looked more like a patrol. I reckon there might be more of them hereabouts.
Seems we can't avoid a fight. I hope you're ready, Henry.
Sure am, sir.
I wouldn't worry about Henry, sir. He showed his mettle and training. So, how are we going to do it? Do you just want to charge them, sir?
What else do you suggest?
Someone could go back up top and try to take one of them down with an arrow before we charge them. There's a good view of the camp from up there.
Good idea. Borrow my crossbow. My shoulder's giving me jip anyway.
All right, sir.
Climb up top, and as soon as you shoot the first time, we'll charge them. And make sure you don't hit one of us.
Right you are, Captain.
Oh, this day took it out of me, and no mistake.
And it ain't over yet, sir. Your goods ain't here, and none of them bastards look like the blacksmith's hands. Am I right, Henry?
Hard to say. I've never actually seen them, but I don't think it was them.
Me neither. But right past that peak is another good camping spot.
You think this was a patrol?
It makes sense. But I don't want to go assuming the worst. We might have just run into them bandits by chance.
Yeah, well, you were right, as always. Let's go, then. Are you ready, Henry?
I am. Let's go.
Hold on, lad. Give me back my crossbow. You weren't thinking of keeping it, were you?
Of course. It did a good job.
I didn't do anything with it.
I should bloody think so.
I thought we had everything clear, Venser. You tried to fuck with me, so until we ride out, you're gonna stick right there and keep your mouth shut.
We did everything you asked. We got the blacksmith cart and the goods.
Horse shit. You tried to fuck me. That bastard cousin of yours owned up to it.
It was his idea. I wanted nothing to do with it.
Make no difference to me, Venser. You vouched for the crooked fucker. So now, it's on you. Actually, you could consider yourself lucky. If you hadn't saved my ass that time in Colleen, I'd have goat ear skin you alive.
Bastards. You can't trust anyone in these parts. Get ready, Gnarly. We are going to parley.
Like that time with the Johnny, sir?
Yes, exactly.
Only there was more of us that time, and less of them.
Oh, don't worry, there won't be a problem. They're just common thieves. Besides, I'll take young Henry with me.
What, me?
And if they're still feeling brave, you get to try out that new plaything of yours. Ahem, gentlemen, I'm obliged to you for looking after my goods, but I'll take them back now. Just hand them over and I'll let you go.
Oh, you must be from Samin, sir. Well, of course you can have everything back. As long as you ask nicely, eh? Well, how about we do things differently? You lay down your weapons, and we can all have a nice little chat. I mean, I don't intend to go murdering local lords. I just want your coin.
That's very noble of you, sir.
What are you gaping at? At them!
What now?
One of them bastards fled into the rocks. Chase him down and bring him back.
Did you see which way he went?
No, I had other things on my hands. Besides, you're the one who's supposed to keep watch.
I'll go and track him then.
Great. Hurry.
I've got you now, Venser. You've nowhere to run to. Yield.
Well, why the fuck would I? It's just you against me. Besides, if I do yield, it's the rope for me anyway.
Can't you think of any other way out of this?
Well, you could let me go.
Why would I?
Maybe for coin.
Carry on.
Well, Jules wasn't entirely wrong. We wanted to fuck him over and take the cart to Yachin.
Only it didn't work out.
As you can see, his fellows caught us on the way. We had to pull the cart over and haul the goods up to the rocks. But before Ghouls had a chance to count the loot, we skimmed off a bit. Well, that is, my cousin Franzi did. I had enough work hauling them sacks. If you let me go, well, I'll tell you where the loot is.
All right then. Tell me where you hid it, and I'll let you go.
The thing is, I don't actually know. Well, only Franzi does. He drew himself a map with charcoal, well, so's he wouldn't forget.
So, besides some dodgy map, you actually have nothing for me?
That's not nothing. I reckon I gave you some pretty valuable information.
You do you?
So you'll let me go?
I'll probably regret this, but get going. You better not be lying.
Well, don't worry. I might be a thief, but I ain't no liar. Here it is.
Off you go, then. I'm sorry, sir, but that bastard gave me the slip and lost me in the rocks.
Christ, Henry. Oh, well, I hope he learned a lesson at least.
Well, the main thing is we got the cart back.
To hell with the cart. I just hope that scum won't go boasting around the country that he got the better of old Samin.
I think he'll keep his mouth shut.
Why do you think that?
Just
A feeling. What about Gules?
He caught a few good hits, but he's alive. We'll take him with us. I need to have a strong word with him. You did a good job, youngster. You've got heart. And so you don't say I had you clambering over these rocks for nothing. Here's something for you.
Thank you, sir.
Don't thank me, you deserved it. And now, let's get that accursed cart back to Samin. Want a ride? We'll go via Troskovitz. We can drop you off there, and you won't have far to Tarkov. You ought to report back to Radovan as soon as possible about what happened with these hands.
A ride would be great. My legs are sore.
Wait until you're my age. Well, let's get going.
I didn't do nothing wrong, I swear. It's all Vence's fault. It was him who said we'll sell the car to Gills.
Shut up, Francie. You both told me you'll bring me the cart, and then you try to fuck me over.
So, you wanted to steal the cart for yourself, and you still got caught?
I didn't want to steal anything. That was Vence.
Bollocks! You confessed when we caught you.
Only 'cause you forced me to.
You're prize idiots in any case. If you hadn't gone round the rocks, you could have got away. But I've got a big heart, so I sent the lads to give you a hand. And I didn't trust you in the slightest. For good reason. Although...
Where are you taking us?
To Samin, where his lordship will hear you out and decide what to do with you.
I hope you realize you can't execute me just like that.
That depends. By rights, I should send a plea to the royal court to ask if we can behead you. But in these shitty times, nobody will give a toss. And parchment's expensive. So as far as I'm concerned, I'd happily take the risk and cut your head off without permission.
I can see how much you respect the rule of law here.
You're quite the joker. Invoking the law, are you?
And what will happen to me?
If you really are innocent, nothing will happen to you.
I am. It was Vence who roped me into it. I swear on my soul.
Is that supposed to soften my heart? Every good-for-nothing I dragged to the gallows swore on his ma. Nobody with any decency would risk his mother's immortal soul, even if he was pure as the driven snow. But this arsehole don't think twice about damning her. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
The captain's right. Only the lowest of the low swears on his mother.
Ain't it grand you're here to make that clear for us? And now shut it. The two of you. I don't want you poisoning the air with the shit you spout.